Here's my advice for anyone out there seeking a job or an internship. Do the complete opposite of what these guys did to get their internship at Google. If you do that, you can land yourself the internship. And with that segue, let's get into the review. So in this movie, Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson play two salesmen who get axed once they find out that their company has been shut down. And they find this out by someone they're pitching a sale to. How sad. On a Google search for a new job, Vince Vaughn comes up with the idea of getting an internship at Google themselves, which could lead to a possible job, as all internships do. So going into this movie, I expected it to be a PG-13 version, something like Wedding Crashers, which, again, had Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. I really liked that movie. The two guys had great chemistry together. So I was looking forward to this movie. And, well, in the end, it was a bit disappointing. One of the problems with this movie is that they portray these guys as old men who don't know how a webcam works, don't have a clue that Instagram exists, and it's not funny, and it's confusing because I know people who are much older than they are and who've been on Twitter and Instagram like a year or two before I have. The interns that they end up working with in a group start out as very unlikable for different reasons. There's this Asian kid who is homeschooled who's just like kind of a wimp and just really doesn't take the initiative for himself. There's this guy who's cut off from his own world and always on his phone, you know, doing this. What? Oh, I'm recording a review. Just like that. The only person in that group that I did like was this girl, just because, I mean, she's that nerd girl, that hot nerd girl, and I kind of have a thing for that. But that's about it. I also I absolutely hate this cliche in comedies, where you get this douchebag who's the villain of the movie, or in case of comedies, the quote-unquote villain. He's just like, oh, you guys were going to lose. We are going to win this. And it's just, I really wish I could be a character in those movies just to say, look, what are you accomplishing here? Why do you keep doing this? Just go off, do your own thing, and just leave us the fuck alone. I mean, I really, really hate that stereotype. And he always pops up in the most convenient places just to mock the main characters, which, Hollywood, you need to get rid of that stereotype, please, because it's not very effective. This movie is 2 hours long, and for the first hour and a half, it's not very funny. Now, not in an offensive sort of way like The Hangover Part 3 was, but in a very predictable, formulaic comedy type of way. It just, I didn't think they were trying that hard. I mean, it's PG-13, so you have some sort of restrictions, but they could have tried a little better. Now, the movie isn't all that bad. There was some stuff that I did like. In fact, there's plenty of stuff that I did like. As I mentioned, the characters that I mentioned before started out as unlikable due to their own reasons, but there's a scene where they all go to a strip club in San Francisco. I know, just go with it. And that's when the characters get to really bond with each other, and that's when the movie starts to get a lot funnier. Okay, I gotta tell the funniest joke in the movie. If you really care that much about the internship, just keep your eyes on the little spoiler tag, mute the video, and then come back once the spoiler tag goes away. There's a scene involving the Asian kid where he's getting his first lap dance. But shortly after, he has to go to the restroom and dry off his crotch with those machine dryers. And he does that 2 more times afterwards, and that made me laugh hard. Maybe I'm immature, maybe it was the movie started out as not being very funny, but that got a good laugh out of me. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson's characters start to become more intelligent and not as stupid as they were first portrayed at the beginning of the movie. Again, the jokes got a lot better, and I thought the movie had a pretty good ending. Also, I finally got to understand how Quidditch actually works in the real world when the brooms aren't flying. I know it seems pretty basic, but this movie was actually the first time I actually saw real Quidditch happen. So, I mean, I did like the last 30 minutes of the movie, but in order to get through it, you guys sit through an hour and a half of just a pretty generic comedy that sadly isn't all that funny. It's, you know, it's one of those movies where you watch at home when you're working on something else, or you just watch it with a couple of your friends at home. You might enjoy it, but it's really not worth going to see it in the theater. I don't dislike it, but it's not particularly good. I don't entirely recommend it. I say just watch at your own risk. You might like it, you might not. That's up for you to decide. So that is my review for The Internship. This has been The Cinemas with Mr. Robinson. Leave a comment, subscribe, check out my other channel, AlexG8462, and I will see you guys later.